You are gambling with your life. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 231 of the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and today I want to talk about something that, funny enough, has nothing to do with cards or slot machines, but still feels like gambling. Because in 2025, you don't need a casino to feel like a gambler. You just need internet, a goal, and a little bit of hope that maybe the next one will finally be it. Before we start, as usual, if you end up liking this episode, remember that liking and subscribing really mean a lot for me. They're just one click, but they really make the difference. Thank you very much for considering it. Now, when I say gambling, again, I don't mean money changing hands. I mean that little mental loop of unpredictability, the maybe next time effect. The thing that keeps people glued to slot machines isn't the money, it's the uncertainty. And that's exactly the same loop we fall into in our everyday lives. You hit publish, you hit refresh, you make a move, and you're waiting for the jackpot moment. Take this podcast, for example. Every episode I put out is basically me pulling a lever. I have no idea if it's going to hit or miss. Maybe today it reaches 10 people. Maybe tomorrow it reaches 10,000. And the crazy part, it's not even up to me. There's an algorithm in the background deciding. That's not strategy, and that's not skill. That's gambling dressed up as content distribution. And it's addictive. You put hours of effort into an episode, hit upload, and then suddenly you're refreshing, checking stats, thinking, is this the one? Did I hit it this time? And when it doesn't land, your brain doesn't tell you to quit. No, it says, next one, next episode, next spin. That's the exact same pool people feel sitting in front of a slot machine at 3 in the morning. Fortunately, the reasons and the drive that I have behind this podcast are far from becoming successful. I do it for myself, and that's the reason why I'm still here after 200 episodes, even with the modest results that I'm getting. But, and we're gonna talk about this, the problem is for the people that chase the big hit. Moving to another subject, maybe even more trickier, and the actual reason I wanted to do this episode, generative AI. If you've ever used it, you know the feeling. You type in a prompt, hit enter, and wait. Sometimes it's awful. Sometimes it's okay. And sometimes it's like magic. Jackpot. And that jackpot is enough to keep you coming back, even after 10 failed tries. Because maybe the 11th is the win. Sounds familiar? It should. It's the same exact brain chemistry that makes casinos billions. The scary part is the brain actually prefers the randomness. It's called variable reinforcement. A guaranteed reward? Boring. A maybe reward? Addictive. That's why creators chase views, why people can't stop prompting AIs, why gamblers keep playing long after the money is gone. It's the hope of the maybe that keeps you stuck. And trust me, I've experienced it. Not with casinos, but with the previous examples that I gave you. But here's the cost. When your life starts feeling like a casino, your focus gets shredded. You're not building systems. You're just chasing moments. You're stacking anecdotes instead of foundations. It feels exciting, sure, but it's fragile. Because one bad spin, one bad upload, one day where the jackpot doesn't land, and suddenly you feel like the whole thing is worthless. And worst of all, what if you do hit it big? What if one video or one answer suddenly explodes? That's not always the blessing it looks like. Most people who hit the jackpot in casinos end up broke, Even worse than the way they started before winning, because they never built a system to handle it. It's the exact same thing. A viral spike without stability behind it doesn't free you. It traps you, because now you're desperate to repeat it. This is why jackpots break people. It tricks you into thinking you earned something when, really, it was just chance. You don't get better at your craft by hitting a lucky break. You don't become more resilient. You just get addicted to the high. And then every time you don't hit it again, feels like failure, when really, it's just the odds resetting. So what's the alternative? Stability. Small, boring, predictable, small wins. I know, it doesn't sound exciting. Nobody brags about their medium-sized success. But it's the only way to build something that lasts. Because those little controllable results, the daily uploads, the consistent workouts, the manageable routines, they compound. They stack up in ways a jackpot never will. And here's the key. Build your system like an anti-casino. Cap your spins. Set boundaries. Track process metrics, not jackpots. Don't let yourself chase that one perfect output or perfect video. Instead, celebrate that you showed up. Because the moment you reframe the reward as consistency itself, the game changes. Second part of the solution, train your tolerance for boring. Learn to love repetition. The casino of life wants you to crave novelty, but growth lives in the mundane. It's in publishing the 100th episode, not hoping the 10th one blows up, and you might even reach the 1000th episode. If you know what your desire really is, and you're doing things because you want them, if the result comes or doesn't really matter. So when you reset your own reward loop, something incredible happens. The dopamine hit doesn't come from maybe this one, but from I did it again. Showing up becomes the jackpot. That shift makes you resilient because now you can't lose. Whether today spikes or not, the win is in fact that you're still here building. So instead of seeing your life as a casino, start treating it like a workshop. In a casino, the house always wins. In a workshop, every single hour builds something. Every small act adds up. And yeah, the jackpots might still come, but now they're not the foundation. They're just a bonus. So here's my challenge for you. Think of one area where you've been gambling with your time or energy, where you're chasing jackpots instead of building systems. And ask yourself, how do I bring stability into this? How do I cap the spins and reward myself for showing up instead of just hoping to win? Because at the end of the day, this is the trap. If you live like a gambler, you lose like one. But if you live like a builder, every day is a win. Thank you very much for listening. That was all for today. Pretty spontaneous episode from my end. It's something that I've seen here and there about generative AI. As I told you, that was my premise for making this episode. But the more I thought about it, the more I wanted to make this episode because let's say that even if I haven't experienced gambling in my life as a first experience, I'm just scared by it. I really believe that it's something extremely toxic. And if you manage to stay away from it in any way, shape or form, it will always gonna be better for you because, yeah, it's something very, very hard to control. Again, thank you very much for listening. Let me know in the comments what you believed of today's episode or if you think that there is a connection with gambling. And as usual, stay consistent, stay resilient. This was the Show Podcast and see you tomorrow.